3, 2, 1.
Another year of the English Premier League is almost upon us, so here is everything you need to know before the 2022-23 Premier League season. First, we'll start with some of the changes for this season, which teams were promoted and which teams were relegated. Last year, we saw quite the battle for relegation that went all the way to the last day. We said goodbye to 3 teams, Norwich, Watford, and Burnley. While Norwich and Watford were relegated early on, Burnley had to find out their fate on the final day as they lost to Newcastle 2-1, and Leeds defeated 10-men Brentford also 2-1. This meant Leeds achieved the great escape under Jesse Marsch and sent Burnley down to the championship. This then opens up 3 spots for our newly promoted teams into the Premier League: Fulham, AFC Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest. Fulham won the EFL Championship by a couple of points over AFC Bournemouth. Both of these teams earned automatic promotion into the Premier League by finishing in the top 2, while the final spot went to the winner of the EFL playoff. Forest and Sheffield, however, battled back and forth. Forest went up 2-1 in the first game, and then Sheffield returned to tie the game 3-3 overall, sending it to penalties, which Nottingham Forest won handily. Forest then became the third and final promoted team by defeating Huddersfield in the final and sending them up to the Premier League for the first time since 1998. So, here are the final 20 teams for the 2022-23 English Premier League season. Arsenal has a history of being one of the best teams in England, but has struggled of recent. The best they could do in 21-22 was qualify for the Europa League by securing 5th place in the league with a record of 22 wins, 13 losses, and 3 ties. Their most recent success was an FA Cup win in 2020, but they have not won the league since 2004 under then-manager Arsene Wenger. Some of their high-profile transfers were bringing in City players Gabby Jesus and defender Zinchenko. They also brought in goalkeeper Matt Turner, midfielder Fabio Vieira, and Marquinhos from Sao Paulo, while they let go of their midfielder Matteo Guendouzi and forward Alexander Lacazette. It'll be interesting to see how Arsenal do with a new-look attack going into the season. Aston Villa stayed up in the league this year, earning 14th place with a record of 13 wins, 6 draws, and 19 losses. No trophies or tournament runs to report, as their last trophy was the League Cup in 1996. Here are some major transfers in so far: Robin Olsen, Diego Carlos, Boubacar Kamara, and Philippe Coutinho. Can Gerrard take the end-of-season momentum into the new campaign? AFC Bournemouth joins from the EFL Championship this season after finishing second after the regular season, with 25 wins, 13 draws, and 8 losses. They only spent 1 year out of the Prem before winning their way back in. They let Gary Cahill go while bringing in a defender and midfielder, Ryan Fredericks and Joe Rothwell respectively. Let's see if they have what it takes to stay up this year. Brentford stays up for another year after completing their maiden season in the Premier League. They achieved a comfortable 13th place and were a joy to watch on the pitch. They even made it to the quarterfinals of the League Cup before losing to Chelsea. The Bees brought in Christian Eriksen near the end of the season after his sudden cardiac arrest during the Euros. However, Eriksen's stay was brief as he was just recently transferred to Manchester United. Dom Jeffries was also sold. Aaron Hickey, Thomas Strakosha, Keane Lewis-Potter, and Ben Mee all joined over the summer. Brentford are primed for another entertaining season, and I look forward to seeing what the Bees can put on the pitch. Brighton broke into the top 10 for the first time. They arrived in the Prem for the first time in 2017 and have stayed up ever since. This past year was the Seagulls' best year yet, with 12 wins, 15 draws, and 11 losses. They ended the year on a 5-match unbeaten run, which included a 4-0 drubbing of Manchester United. They sold their midfielder Yves Bissouma to Tottenham and brought in the Paraguayan forward Julio Enciso. Look for the goals to have another good year in the mid-table. Chelsea achieved a comfortable 3rd place for a UEFA Champions League spot last season, with 2 trophies to their name, the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup. They narrowly missed out on 2 domestic trophies, losing both in the FA Cup and the League Cup to Liverpool in penalties, while only making the quarterfinals in the Champions League. A somewhat average season sees multiple mainstays from their backline depart: Andreas Christensen and Antonio Rudiger. Danny Drinkwater also became a free agent, and Lukaku went back to Inter Milan, being replaced by Raheem Sterling. Chelsea is looking like a strong attacking team on the wings potentially, but need to fill some gaps defensively. Crystal Palace finished 12th place, just about even on wins, losses, and goal differential. They did make the semi-final of the FA Cup before losing to Chelsea. They said goodbye to Martin Kelly while bringing in forward Malcolm Abiwe, ex-Man United goalkeeper Sam Johnston, the American from Bayern Munich Chris Richards, and midfielder Czech Decore, who they hope will replace last year's star Gallagher. It will be interesting to see if Palace can bring in a forward or a midfielder to complement Wilfried Zaha to take some weight off of the striker's shoulders. Everton stays up for another season after barely escaping a relegation battle with Leeds, Burnley, and Southampton. A season to forget for the Toffees with only 11 wins and a quarterfinal FA Cup appearance might be followed by another tough season after their star striker Richarlison left for Tottenham. 3 transfers of James Tarkowski, Dwight McNeil, and Ruben Vingada might be enough, but keep your hopes realistic as it might be another nail-biter. Fulham bounces back into the Prem after yo-yoing for the past 4 seasons or so. Rather than winning the playoffs like before, this past season they secured promotion early in April and won the championship on May 2nd in an incredible 7-0 smashing of Luton. This was not a new experience for Fulham last season, who ended with 106 goals scored, scoring 32 more than the closest team next to them. They did let Carvalho go to Liverpool and will need to replace his 11 goals and 8 assists this past season. Good news is they are keeping their top scorer Mitrovic and bringing in an attacking threat from Manchester United, Andres Pereira, midfielder João Palhinha, and defender Kevin Mbabu. It will be exciting to see if they can continue their attacking prowess in the Premier League. Also, keep a lookout for Americans Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson. Leeds survived relegation on the final day. Jesse Marsch replaced Marcelo Bielsa in February and brought about the great escape. They won 2-1 against 10-man Brentford on the final day, securing their safety. They have not won a major trophy since 1998 when they won the league title. However, they have made some moves this summer, letting Calvin Phillips go to Manchester City and Rafinha to Barcelona, and bringing in midfielders Darko Giabi, Luis Sinisterra, and Marc Roca. Jesse Marsch also signed 3 former players, teaming up once again with 2 fellow Americans, Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams, while reuniting with defender Rasmus Christensen. I look forward to seeing how Marsch does with a full season and his own signings. Here's hoping to all the Americans showing out. Leicester City started off the season on a good foot with an 89th minute victory over Manchester City in the FA Community Shield to grab the first trophy available last season. They finished 8th in the league and made it into the semi-finals of the new Europa Conference League and the quarters of the League Cup. A decent performance, but one that means no European competitions this year for the Foxes. The Foxes' most recent title was the FA Cup in 2021, and their heroic performance in 2016, which saw them win the Premier League in one of the most incredible stories in football. The only major transfer this summer saw Schmeichel sent to the French club Nice, allowing Leicester to continue to build chemistry and enter a new season relatively unchanged, and will once again go on the hunt for European football. Liverpool had the chance for quite the storybook season. They were chasing the quadruple: the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and UEFA Champions League. Liverpool would go on to win the FA Cup and the League Cup, both against Chelsea in penalties. However, the Prem was lost on the final day to Manchester City, but the treble was still on, and would go down to the final of the Champions League. However, this was also just out of reach of Liverpool when they lost to a brilliant Real Madrid side after dominating much of the match. 2 trophies might be great for another club, but this would probably go down as a somewhat disappointing season of what could have been. The Reds also have let some major names go, including Origi, Minamino, Sadio Mane, Neco Williams, Loris Karius, and Ojo. But they have made some major signings with Calvin Ramsey looking like a backup to Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fulham's dangerous midfielder Fabio Carvalho, and the Uruguayan striker Darwin Nunez. Is this finally Liverpool's year? Or is every year Liverpool's year? Manchester City wins another Premier League title and signs a huge player. What's new? With the dramatic win on the final day, City snatched the title from the grasp of Liverpool. However, in tournaments, they only made it as far as the semi-final in both the Champions League and FA Cup. They did win the signature of in-form and much-desired striker Erling Haaland for £51 million. This also accompanied Calvin Phillips and Stefan Ortega Moreno coming into the club. Gabby Jesus, Darko Giabi, Ko Itakura, Fernandinho, Gavin Bazunu, Raheem Sterling, and Zinchenko all left the Sky Blue Citizens. If I were a betting man, I'd bet on City going on to win another league title, but if they really want to be considered a top team and build a history, they're going to need more success in Europe. Manchester United may have just completed their most disappointing season since the legend Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013. No trophies to account for, and only making the round of 16 in the Champions League, barely qualifying for the Europa League with a 6th place finish in the league as well. Uninspiring performances, locker room problems, and a revolving door for managers has led to a frustrated fan base. Erik ten Hag will lead the team this season and hopefully bring back the former glory of the Red Devils with his attractive style that was successful at Ajax. His new signings bring some hope, with Tyrell Malacia and Lisandro Martinez from the Dutch League and attacking midfielder Christian Eriksen from Brentford. However, with so many leaving, there are some major gaps that need filling. Edison Cavani, Juan Mata, Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard, Nemanja Matic, Dean Henderson, Dylan Levitt, and Andreas Pereira all have left the club. Can Ten Hag turn the club around? We'll just have to wait and see. Newcastle United finished 11th place just behind Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their final 2 games may have had more impact than any other team in the league that season, outside of the title race. Victory against Arsenal in the penultimate weekend essentially sealed the Gunners' fate, keeping them out of the Champions League and handing that 4th place to Tottenham, while the victory on the final day helped send Burnley down to the Championship. Not much success as of late has left the Baggies in somewhat of a mid-table limbo, never really competing for the title, but not really in danger of relegation either. They let Isaac Hayden go this summer along with Dwight Gale, but brought in defensive signings Sven Botman, Nick Pope, and Matt Targett. Alain Saint-Maximin will stay this season. Look for the winger to be a dangerous asset. Nottingham Forest joins the Prem after winning promotion in a dramatic EFL Championship playoff run, winning the semi-final in a thrilling back-and-forth game against Sheffield United, and then the final against Huddersfield. Nottingham Forest is putting that new Premier League money to good use by bringing in one of the biggest transfer groups of the summer. Nico Williams signs from Liverpool, while Omar Richards, Moussa Niakate, Julian Biancone, Dean Henderson, Wayne Hennessy, Taiwo Awani, and journeyman Jay Lings also joined Forest for the new season. They enter the EPL for the first time since 1998 and will look to entertain its fans once again, but this time against the big dogs. Southampton was in hot water for a bit near the end of the season, as they were entrenched in part of the relegation battle. They ultimately finished 15th, a safe 5 points above the relegation spot, but it adds to a handful of poor seasons where they never really feel safe. The quarterfinal appearance in the FA Cup was the best they could conjure up last season. Hopefully with new signings Joe Aribo, Romeo Lavia, Armel Belakochap, Gavin Bazunu, Seko Mara, and Matheus Lees, they can all fill the holes left by experienced Saints, Fraser Forster, and Shane Long. Tottenham looks to build on another season, finishing above Arsenal. They clinched the 4th and final Champions League spot ahead of Arsenal on the final day of the season, finishing with 22 wins, 5 draws, and 11 losses, scoring 69 goals, nice, and conceding 40. No tournament or cup success last season, and only a semi-final appearance in the League Cup, but with a long list of signings like Clement Lenglet, Richarlison, Yves Bissouma, Ivan Perisic, Fraser Forster, and Tyrell Ashcroft, they could be on track for a successful season after also keeping danger man Harry Kane and co-Golden Boot winner Son Myeon-hin. West Ham had one of the best seasons in recent memory, another qualification for European football with a top 7 finish as well as a semi-final appearance in the Europa League. The end of the season saw the departure of Ryan Fredericks and Andriy Yarmolenko, and the emotional retirement of Hammer legend Mark Noble. But the new season has bright spots with the signings of Alphonse Areola, Naif Aguerd, Flynn Downs, and Italian striker Gianluca Scamacca. Also, look for the breakout star Jared Bowen with 17 goals and 13 assists to his name last year to continue his form of scoring goals or providing assists to fellow Hammers. Wolverhampton Wanderers round out the top 10, somehow. After going winless in the final 6 games of the season, they finished equal on points with Brighton, but they might have snatched a European competition spot from West Ham had they turned a couple of those losses or draws into wins. Bright spot of the season was seeing the return of Raul Jimenez from his horrific head injury. There are some holes to fill this season, with Romain Saiss, Ryan Gills, Connor Carty, Pascal Estrada, Marcal, and John Ruddy all departing, and the Wolves only signing defender Nathan Collins from relegated Burnley. However, Adama Traore did return from his loan move to Barcelona, and if they manage to sign a big player and keep Jimenez, Neves, and Moutinho, they could be in for a good season. So, that's everything you need to know going into the 2022-23 Premier League season. But let us know who you think is taking the title this coming season.